This meeting is no longer being recorded.
चलो बोलिए सर, दोबारा बोलिए। ये बात
हमारी आवाज सभी को आ रही है, प्लीज कंफर्म करें। आवाज आ रही है? कैमरा ऑन कीजिए, कैमरा। मॉडरेटर एंड पैनलिस्ट, मॉडरेटर हमारे साथ बैठे हुए हैं, ऑल पैनलिस्ट में प्लीज कंफर्म।
आ रही है, आवाज आ रही है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
जी हाँ,
We can hear you.
तो कैमरा भी ऑन कीजिए, कैमरा। हेलो।
हाँ जी सर।
हाँ सर, हाँ सर। कौन सा बैनर आ रहा है? सर आपके पास है? पीछे लगा रहा हूँ, ये अभी आएगा थोड़ी देर में, भी आप ज्वाइन करेंगे। अभी करा रहा हूँ सर, करा रहा हूँ, एक-एक करके करा रहा हूँ सबको। अभी टाइम है।
आप अपना वीडियो ऑन करिएगा। हाँ राजीव सर, अभी आपका पिक्चर आ रहा है बिल्कुल। All other panelist participant kindly on your camera. Switch on your camera. All the connected panelist participant on session 1.
क्या करना है इसमें?
Also thank the Department of Commerce, thank the DPIP, and thank the MSME and other joint scientists and other members of the government who have supported this industry. Very, very big. Thank you for joining this session. It is a breakout session. See,
इसकी भी रिकॉर्डिंग है।
ये सेशन 1 में जा रहा होगा।
सेशन 1 में
जा रहा होगा।
नेक्स्ट, ठीक है।
फिर उसके बाद इनको मर्ज कर देना।
वो तो मर्ज तो फिर वो करेंगे।
हाँ, इसी पे डाल देंगे। ठीक है,
अभी अपना ये हो गया एक बार। हेलो राजू सर। दिलीप कुछ बोलिए वहां से। दिलीप दिलीप एक बार माइक पे कुछ बोलिए।
Hello, Akshan. Hello. 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 हेलो हेलो अक्षांश
आप इसको ऑन कर लें ताकि सब सेट कर लें.
This meeting is being recorded.
Good afternoon, friends, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, fellow entrepreneurs, policymakers, heads of various institutions, and everyone in the ecosystem of the entrepreneurial world. Thank you all for joining this breakout session 1 of this very important webinar. Every small business is a story of risk, resilience, and the belief that something great can emerge out of something small. And yet, greatness is not all about size or volume or the numbers. Greatness is more about the value an entrepreneur adds to all its stakeholders. And it is in this regard that a real enterprise must be measured. We are very happy to note that Government of India in the last 10 years has been extremely focused on the MSME sector. And they have been trying to create an ecosystem that enables not just the growth of MSMEs, but faster growth of MSMEs. In fact, in the last 10 years, we've seen schemes like Zero Effect, Road Effect. We've seen Stand Up India, Startup India, the outreach program for the MSME sector, and then the Atmanirbhar scheme, the mega scheme in 2020 to help MSME sector come out of the COVID after effects. And ever since, budget after budget, month after month, if I may say, the government has been taking various initiatives to support the MSME sector across India. And this time, in fact, why this budget is so remarkable, while we've seen schemes like RAMP being introduced, a 6,000 crore fund a couple of years back in the budget, in the last budget, a special scheme to support collateral-free lending to projects up to 100 crore for the MSME sector, those all have been announced. And yet, in many respects, this particular budget is unprecedented. And the only reason that I see is that this budget aims not just at normal or organic growth. This budget is focusing on exponential growth. It just aims to double everything in no time. If you look at the income tax slab and their limits, almost double from 7 lakh exemption to 12 lakh exemption. If you look at the MSME definitions, the investment limits 2.5 times. You look at the turnover limits for the MSME sector, more than double. You look at the CGTMSE scheme, the collateral-free lending doubled from 5 crore to 10 crore. You have a special scheme for women entrepreneurs, SC and ST, and the weaker sections of our society that need support. A special collateral-free loan scheme for them, up to 2 crores, which would support the first-time entrepreneurs amongst the women, SC and ST entrepreneurs. We have a fund of fund scheme already, and a 10,000 crore fund being added to that. A new fund of fund being launched for the startup. Likewise, I see a new scheme of the MSME credit cards, which will be doled out to 1 million entrepreneurs with limits of up to 5 lakhs. I mean, these are the steps that are doubling the entire ecosystem, that really wants to introduce much faster and exponential growth. And that is why this budget, to many of us, is a landmark budget. For exporters, you have a collateral-free lending scheme of up to 20 crore now. For good SMEs and those in the startup category, you again have a scheme of up to 20 crore as collateral-free lending. And especially for the labor-intensive sectors, the footwear and the toys, you have again very special schemes. Needless to say that these and many more announcements in the union budget would have a mega effect in the entire ecosystem. And MSME sector across India is extremely enthusiastic and enthused about what the government has given to them. As Honorable Prime Minister mentioned in his address just a few minutes before, that this budget actually gave much more than the expectations of any expert or even the demand of various stakeholders. And that is why this shows the essence, not just of continuity, but now of multiplying the effect and the support that the government wishes to give to the MSME sector. And couple this with the latest RBI credit policy announcement, where interest rate, the repo interest rates are now down by 25 basis points. In fact, we see an India and we see an MSME sector and the entrepreneurial world benefiting out of all that is coming their way. And needless to say, all this would have a great effect, positive effect, northward effect in times to come in our Indian economy as we move ahead towards our dream of becoming Viksit Bharat. I'm extremely happy to announce that we have a panel of very eminent specialists from across India. We have eminent policymakers, we have institutional heads, we have entrepreneurs with us. And allow me to invite, first of all, Shri Manish Sinha, the CEO of the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises, that is CGT MSE, who's joined us from Mumbai this afternoon. Shri Manish Sinha, sir, your opening remarks on this budget and the impact that you think this would make on the MSME sector. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. So, as we all know, one of the biggest announcements that I see as far as the MSE sector is concerned is the enhanced guarantee ceiling from 5 crore to 10 crore to support larger loans, and that would be leading to additional credit of rupees 1.5 lakh crore in the next 5 years. So that's one of the major announcements, and to get a fair idea of how and what would be the impact of this, I would just like to give you some background on the sector, the problem we face, and what CGTMSE has been doing and what can be done. So, as we all know, the MSMEs face a significant challenge in accessing finance due to various factors, such as the small size or
This
the
meeting is being
limited credit
recorded.
history,
This
the
meeting is no
information
longer being
asymmetry,
recorded.
the higher perceived risk, and the lack of sufficient collateral, which is one of the major ones. And many of the MSEs have been facing issues and not getting the required amount of financial support because of this. So now, in
This
order to
meeting is
address
being
this,
recorded.
Ministry of MSME, Government of India, and SIDBI back in 2000, the year 2000, established the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises. And the basic idea was to extend guarantee support to the bank so that they could extend financial support to micro and small enterprises without any collateral or third-party guarantee. Now, this was a major announcement then, and then we started working. This is our 25th year, and in our 25th year, I'm quite happy to share that on a cumulative basis, CGTMSE has issued more than 1 crore guarantees worth about 8.84 lakh crores till date, and out of which about 61% has been done in the last 3 financial years when we took a major revamp of our schemes, our systems, processes, and since then, I mean, there's been a major increase in the availment. During the current financial year, 2025 till date, I'm again happy to share that we've done about 20.3 lakh guarantees worth about 2.60 lakh crores till date. And all these guarantees, if you see, are broadly divided between various, like suppose 34% is in the range of say 0 to 25 lakh loans. And then about another 41% is from 25 lakh to 1 crore bracket. And another 25% in 1 crore to 5 crore bracket. So as on date, we're doing only up to 5 crores. And that's how the overall guarantees are spread out. And as far as the extent of guarantees are concerned, I mean, as on date, we extend guarantees up to 75% in various sectors, and that guarantee percent is increasing, has been increased to certain specific sectors like SC/ST entrepreneurs or enterprises in the aspirational district, where we extend guarantees up to 85%. And for women entrepreneurs and agri-bees, we extend up to 90% guarantees. Now, with this background, if you see the budget announcement of increasing the guarantee ceiling from 5 crore to 10 crore, I see that will be a major game changer, and a lot of big loans will be extended by the banks and financial institutions to the sector without collateral and third party, and that would really help the MSC sectors to grow, expand, diversify, scale up the operations, adopt new technologies, get into new innovations, explore new markets, and there can be a whole lot of effect. And then I'd just like to add that this is expected to create additional credit in the next 5 years of up to rupees 1.50 lakh crores and benefiting about 25,000 beneficiaries and creating employment opportunities of about 1 lakh. So that's going to be a huge number. I'm really quite excited about this.
Thank you so much, Manish Sinha, for your opening remarks. In fact, I agree with all you saying, except for one figure that I think I'm a bit more optimistic about. This would not add just 1 lakh of employment, but I'm looking at perhaps 1 million and the impact there, because you're going to fund almost 1.5 lakh crore in next 5 years. So I see employment opportunities at least 10 times of what you just projected. And so with this, I move to, in fact, I would invite a woman entrepreneur. And Shrimati K. Ramadevi. In fact, she is an entrepreneur. She is also heading ELITE, an organization that represents women enterprises, work extensively in Hyderabad, Telangana. Over to you, ma'am K. Ramadevi, for your opening remarks and how you see this budget making an impact on women entrepreneurial world.
Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity. I'm really impressed and I'm very happy to be part of this program, and the Honorable Prime Minister's announcement, Viksit Bharat, really we are looking, and it's happening now, because I have a vast experience of 32 years in the industry, and I see that every sphere of humanity is touched with his budget speech. In fact, MSME sector, which has been always a springboard for development, with this enhancement of, investment limit, I think they can afford to have the technology and also scale up as a big manufacturers for various sectors like defense, where the indigenous production is encouraged. So the limit enhancement will help them to scale up in technology and also have a good infrastructure. And also, when we talk about access to credit, which has been a very big issue in various forums. Now, announcement of CGT MSME from 5 crores to 10 crores is really what we all look forward to. And also, paying 1% is not pinching us, sir. It is the interest which, I request banks to look into it. At least 1% reduction to the micro sector will help them to really be competitive and also cost effective in the market. And one more, I think I should, appreciate accelerating action for women-led enterprises for sustainable future is the International Women's Day slogan. And this is happening with the budget by giving up to 2 crores for women entrepreneurs. A credit guarantee will help SHGs to get into the formal production, and also it affects 9 million SHGs, affecting 90 million households. They are able to come up to the organized sector and become industrialists. So that's a great opportunity for women. I highly appreciate the whole ministry and the finance ministry, and also Honorable Prime Minister, who is looking at channelizing all our efforts to Viksit Bharat. It's happening. And when we talk about startups, because we had even startup incubation, there's so much happening, but startup sustainability is what we are all concerned, and linking startups with the CGT MSME will help them to move forward and access credit and also take advantage of various government schemes. Thanks for giving this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, K. Ramadevi. In fact, one of your suggestions, really sounds very lucrative, that government perhaps could come out with another outreach program with some interest subvention. They had a similar program in 2018 to 2020. So we'll make the suggestion. Let's see what more the government can offer. But then this budget, of course, has great bonanza for all the entrepreneurs. And thank you so much for speaking on behalf of women entrepreneurs. We'll come back to you again with some questions and some comments later. And at this stage, I would invite Mr. Surinder Rana, the Deputy Managing Director, Retail and MSME from State Bank of India. In fact, State Bank of India is one bank, the public sector bank, the #1 everyone follows you. Every public sector bank looks at your initiatives, your steps, and why not? In fact, you are really taking the role of a big bank, the big brother to everyone, a guide to everyone. To you, Shri Surinder Ranaji, for your comments. Please.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Louder.
Yeah. So thank you, Rajiv, and thanks for inviting me to this forum. I think very, very important this webinar. I think it will go in a long way to take forward the various initiatives announced by the government in this wonderful budget. And to be very frank, I must say that we bankers, and especially people like me, who is driving the MSME part, MSME vertical in the State Bank of India, we are very excited also to see that the type of announcements that have been made. Two of them very, very prominently. Number one is, of course, the change in definition of the MSME, doubling and maybe 2.5 times. And of course, also doubling the CGTMSE coverage. And of course, I think one thing probably which we are missing out here is the 100 crore guarantee, that mutual credit guarantee fund, which has been created also, which is likely to take off very shortly. I think all these things put together, apart from special incentives to the exporters up to 20 crores and to the startups, to the women entrepreneurs, I think whole lot of things have been, clubbed here. And I think the type of, GDP growth India is witnessing, the type of GST collections that we are witnessing month after month, the FDIs that are coming into I think the type of infrastructure, the spending on the infrastructure the government has planned over the next few years, I think everything is at the right spot as far as India is concerned. And we, SBI, normally we say SBI is synonymous with the Indian economy. I've seen the trend in the last 25, 30 years. Indian SBI growth has been absolutely on the same track as that of Indian economy. And we being the largest bank, we also have that extra responsibility also. We have that reach, and we have that wherewithal to basically go a long way in supporting this endeavor of the government of India. And towards that end, I must assure you that we in SBI, we are, should I say, moving ahead of times, because now it's time for digital lending. You all know we have been going through the paper and then the computerized, and then now is the time for lending. And we have focused in big way on cash flow based lending here, and doing away with the paperwork more often than not to arrive at a decisioning. we have developed our own internal engine here for digital lending up to 5 crores. It is working very fine for the last 1 year. We are tying up with various bodies to have a link on their websites so that people can access it directly. They don't have to come to any branch. They don't have to produce any paper, and it's all very, very digital. And the actual work of the bank starts only after the system has generated a go ahead. So with those things in mind, and now that the government has already announced increasing the CGTMSE limit from 5 crore to 10 crore, we are also moving in the same direction now. We have also started developing our engine to take it up to 10 crores. And why I'm saying this is very important is, see, the timely credit to the MSMEs is very important. Of course, credit in itself is very important, and that too, if you get timely. So as they say, justice delayed is justice denied. Similarly, credit delayed is also credit, as good as it is of no use. So with this digital engine and the type of enablers that CGTMSE has developed in their website, the type of APIs they have given, everything is so smooth now. And any customer who comes to us to avail a MSME loan up to 5 crores today, and if he's ready to get it covered under CGTMSE, I can assure you that from SBI, we can deliver him this thing in T+3. That is, within 3 days, we can deliver him the money in his account. That much I can assure you with this thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, your opening remarks have been so enthusing for everyone. Imagine getting a loan within 3 days, paperless, through digital mechanism. I think it is a dream every Indian entrepreneur, every MSME entrepreneur, carries in his or her heart. And thank you for helping us realize this dream and bringing it so close to, the realization. That's what State Bank of India is, and I'm sure every other public sector bank and private bank, would follow the steps and do, in fact, much more than suggested. Thank you so much, sir. We'll come back to you again. And at this stage, I would invite, what should I say, man of the moment, Shri Durgesh Pandey, the CEO of National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company Limited, that is NCGTC. He's joined us from Mumbai. A lot of talks in the budget. Everybody since morning from the inaugural session is talking about collateral-free lendings and the new schemes that are coming ahead. We really want to listen, from you. Over to Mr. Durgesh Pandey, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me for this program. It's really a pleasure to be part of it. So let us understand that the government of India understands and appreciates the importance of MSMEs in contributing to the resilience of this economy. And this is quite evident from budget after budget, the way the focus is being provided to the MSME segment, and more so to the manufacturing and the exporting segment. Now, the government understands that manufacturing and the MSMEs are providing almost 1/3 to the GDP, and the export MSME, the manufacturing segment, is almost 50% of the exports. So with that perspective in mind, the enhancement in the limits to provide more opportunity to more SMEs, to bring them within this bandwidth of this MSME so that they can get various benefits of the government of India. Now, that's a very welcome step. That is one part. Now, just a few days back, the government of India had launched this mutual credit guarantee scheme on MSMEs, wherein loans up to 100 crore could be guaranteed, and wherein the majority manufacturing segment, 75% of that should be in the manufacturing for the plant and machinery. Now, the government understanding and appreciating the requirement which the collateral-free lending that these borrowers need, not every businessman would have the collateral to get the loan. And the lenders are also having some risk-taking ability, but there are limitations to that. Now, adding guarantee to that reduces their risk partially. So it enables them to lend more easily. With that perspective in mind, that scheme had come. Now, these are the bigger schemes that I've been talking about. But to say the investments have gone, but the focus of the government to the small segment has not been lost. The credit guarantee scheme for Mudra loans is there, wherein loans up to 10 lakh of small businesses are also covered, and SHG loans of 10 to 20 lakhs are covered, up to 20 lakhs are covered. The government had just a few months back, about 2-3 months back, introduced Tarun Plus category under the scheme, wherein loans up to 10 lakh, where they have repaid it well, they can get an additional 20 lakh. So the government's focus on the smallest in the segment has also not been lost. Same way, to promote the SCs, STs and the women entrepreneurs, set up greenfield units so that they also come up as an entrepreneur and start their own enterprises. The government had this Stand Up India scheme, which has been enhanced to 2 crores. Now, the enhancement should be looked at from this perspective कि अगर भूख 2 रोटी की है तो 1 रोटी से काम कैसे चलेगा? So with that perspective in mind, enhancement in this Stand Up India scheme from 1 crore to 2 crore and CGTMSE from 5 crore to 10 crore, startup scheme from 10 crore to 20 crore has to be seen from this perspective. Now, on the startup, I would like to say that most of these startups don't have tangible assets, and the requirement of these startups is quite high. So this 10 crore was, the government had come out with this scheme on 10 crore, which was came into effect sometime in April 2023. The government observed that this has to be enhanced based on various discussions with the stakeholders, and it is quite reasonable. Enhancing it to 10 crore, from 10 crore to 20 crore, and with that, reduction in the guarantee fee in the focus sectors, the champion sectors of the Make in India, which have been identified as the focus sectors, is something which can go a long way in improving the economy and the employment opportunities. The government has also given focus on the export segment. They have come out with this scheme, or they are proposing a scheme for the credit guarantee scheme for the export segment, because for the term loans, etc., or even anything other than the packing credit and post shipment, they did not have a guarantee scheme. And the government understands the importance that the exporting segment can have by way of a trickle-down effect to the various other MSMEs, as also in enabling more employment and exports so that foreign exchange is increased. So the government's thought on bringing a scheme for the export segment is also very welcome and is great. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for your opening remarks. In fact, ball is now in your court, and we also, of course, the CEO of CGT MSU is here. A lot of things need to be seen on how these programs would be implemented, how entrepreneurs give a feedback a few weeks or months from now. And I'm sure it should all be positive in times to come. All played major role in extending collateral-free credit to much more now. Times now have come to double, triple, grow exponentially. Thank you so much, and we'll come back to you again, sir. And now this brings me to the largest private bank in India, the HDFC Bank. We have with us Mr. Rahul Shyam Shukla, the Group Head Commercial and Rural Banking, HDFC Bank. MSME definition has widened. Turnover limits have been doubled. Investment limits increased 2.5 times. Rahulji, how enthusiastic is your bank about looking at this whole new world of opportunities, and how you also look at the micro segment in the rural areas, the credit flowing towards them? To you, Mr. Rahul.
Rajiv ji, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And, there are so many illustrious speakers, ahead of me. And I will try and, basically keep meeting, the expectations of all the listeners. कुछ श्रोतागण कहते हैं कि हिंदी में उद्बोधन हो, वो भी मैं थोड़ा सा कोशिश करूँगा. I must say that financing for MSMEs has come a very long way if we look at growth in the outstanding credit. Our bank itself, HDFC Bank, if you think about it, we have roughly about 20%, market share amongst the banks in MSME lending, and we've been growing at somewhere between 30 and 50% over the last 7 years in this particular space. We're very proud of the fact that today we lend in 730 districts in the country out of 782, and we have also gone deeper to about 235,000 villages where we go out and extend financing, very active support for our customers. So this asset class is also the largest part of HDFC Bank's balance sheet. Many people think of us as an urban and metro retail bank, but that is not the case. The bank has achieved its scale, due to the prompt turnaround time in credit approval and extension, our digital platform, as well as focus on service. But I still think that while India has progressed so much in extending MSME financing, we should remain mindful that only 2.5 crore MSME entities are in the formal banking system. To my mind, at least 7 to 8 crore entities are very small units, shopkeepers, and unincorporated micro enterprises who are still not in the formal banking system. For India to progress, for rural income to grow, and for jobs to be created, it is very important that they all are, brought into the system. This budget, as the budgets, in the past, has basically gone several steps ahead in terms of supporting the MSME segment. And I think from a regulatory perspective, whatever would have been, the wish list to achieve, has been achieved. Now it is only, basically directions or administrative orders which can, continue to basically change. So our framework is in place. I must also say that, ECLGS and the NCGTC and CGTMSE, these are excellent and exceptional organizations in the forefront. And I've worked, having worked with both of these institutions, I must comment that during COVID, the ECLGS scheme that was, brought in to support, the MSME sector, that to my mind was the best scheme in the entire world to support, this particular segment. To expand further, I would like to make, a few suggestions and under 4 categories. The first is, greater inclusion in the formal banking system, because I worry about, the 7, 8, 9 crore, entities who need to be brought in. So the revised definitions, which have been unveiled in the budget, will be very beneficial for micro enterprises, because today you will not worry that you will lose benefits at the state level, taxation level, and other benefits that you avail. Should you were to move from micro to small category, you have more runway to go. On the other hand, the larger ones who were not in the medium sector, they will now get included in the MSME sector, and all of them will be able to get the benefit of CGTMSE. As we've seen, it is very difficult to go out and create collateral to give to banks to achieve lending, and CGTMSE affords that benefit of receiving bank lending without the need for collateral. The enhancement that has been done is just fantastic. So the total credit extension will increase automatically, also because there will be more reclassification of non-MSME loans into MSME loans. Banks will meet their PSL requirement. So I think that we need to ensure that there is a framework in which the banks remain hungry to go out and basically bring to the formal banking system the unincorporated micro enterprises, the shopkeepers, the very small basically if you go to Manipur and see the women's market, all of them should continue to get credit and come into the banking system. So one of the suggestions that I always make is that look, with the new definitions, the PSL requirement, other PSL is 14.5%, that could be increased to 15%, but for micro enterprises, because we increased from 5 to 7.5, and the banking system is meeting this requirement, it is important that we look at a 10% requirement so that these are people who come in and create more jobs. The second is, basically the rural outreach. As we know today, for any entrepreneur, if you are trying to set up a business, land and labor both are an issue in metro and urban areas because of the cost of land and also unavailability of labor. And more businesses are basically getting pushed into the semi-urban and rural, which is a very good thing. Because these businesses also are related to agri, and by sourcing from farmers, they lead to also indirect land collectivization and create greater income in the rural segment. So if that were to be the case, today there are two requirements in PSL. One is 10% for small and marginal farmer, financing, and 8% on the agri side. If that 8% could be made 10% and a rural credit approach, because the rural ecosystem is far larger and far richer than just the agricultural ecosystem, and it may basically behove on us to think about the fact that all lending from rural branches of banks should be classified in this particular segment. That will be very helpful because every lending greases GDP growth where it is needed. So that would, basically be the second point. And the third point, in that I would say is that agro-processing industry, which, is going to be, is a major growth area, will become even more prominent. We're the second largest agricultural producer in the world, and most, producers, we may be the largest. If the PSL classification on agro-processing industries, is increased from 100 to 250 crores, that bank lending is going to help the companies grow larger and get more and more farmers into the indirect land collectivization. The third is the export push. Export guarantee and credit availability is a great initiative, but what the entrepreneur needs is lower cost of funding. And today, earlier we used to have the export subvention, which I think lapsed on December 31st. So that should be brought back in, and as also removal of the cap of 50 lakh rupees on the interest subvention claimed during a year, because that will be really, effective for the exporting, micro enterprises and MSME enterprises. And the last bit is more support on schemes for, basically the banking system. I would say that we today have a lot of GST data and other data which we use for credit evaluation, but it is an OTP based, content based, which is only available for 15 days. Now, if it is possible or made a change is made that this data is available to banks throughout the tenor of the loan, that will be very helpful in terms of continuing and enhancement, as well as increase in basically credit that we put out. The second thing that I would also say is that in CGTMSE, We are one of the largest, if not the largest, in terms of user of this scheme. And today, I think we always worry that if there is a NPA, then I mean, what is going to happen to our claims, with CGT MSE? So we often say that
Mr. Rahul Shukla,
so we'll
come back
stop there.
Yeah, and I'll be coming to you with questions, but thank you so much for raising amazing suggestions. In fact, if I look at the budget announcements, some of these announcements almost complement what you are suggesting. For example, the training centers, the food processing focus now that the government has, that would really encourage the entrepreneurs in the rural areas and the semi-urban areas. So I see a lot of budget announcements other than directly related to credit, also complementing your suggestions. And thank you so much. We'll come back to you again. And this brings me to Mr. Rishi Kant from Federation of Indian Exports Organization. This budget, I think, has a lot for you. Exporting entrepreneurs now entitled to collateral-free credit up to 20 crore. And some suggestions Mr. Rahul already giving. Mr. Rishikant, how do you look at these announcements and what more? Dil aur kya mangta hai?
Good afternoon and thank you very much, sir, for inviting us to this important session. Due to enhancing of the turnover limit by almost 2 times, that is from 250 crores to 500 crores for medium enterprises, will ensure that those medium enterprises which got disqualified due to capitalizing global opportunities by getting into merchanting trade transaction by buying from X country and selling to Y country, but since these merchanting trade transaction doesn't get account into exports and they are considered into the total turnover of domestic turnover while computing whether the entity can be qualified as an MSME. So these kind of cases were disqualified from the benefits of MSME, which will definitely now get qualified and will be able to derive benefit due to enhancing of this turnover limit. We also welcome and appreciate the step of enhancing the credit guarantee scheme from 5 crore limit to 20 crore for exporters, because there are many instances wherein exporters are able to secure confirmed export order, but just because of absence of sufficient collateral, they are deprived to fulfill those export orders. So due to this enhancement of limit from 5 crore to 20 crore for exporters, it will definitely support them to fulfill their export obligation and will enable them to sustain their name in the global market. We have few submissions, as my fellow panelist from HDFC Bank also highlighted about interest equalization scheme. We also supplemented that there should be competitive rate of interest for MSME exporters, as they lack a level playing field as compared to our competitors. So there is a need of immediate restoration of interest equalization scheme, and that also without any capping of rupees 50 lakh in a year. Initially, when the scheme was rolled out in 2015-16, there was no such capping, but of late this capping was implemented. So we request that there should not be any capping when this interest equalization scheme get restored. The Honorable Prime Minister also mentioned few minutes back about the low cost. So it is something in line with the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister. He also mentioned about the timely credit. This is something very important as far as MSME exporters are concerned, because export credit is demand based, and if the credit is not processed within the stipulated time frame, MSME exporter may lose an order which may be capitalized by his competitor based in some other country. Sir, with flow of credit not moving in a pace with the growth in export, as we all have observed that despite several challenges, our India's export have grown to $682 billion if we see the figures from April to Jan of this fiscal, as compared to USD $636 billion of last fiscal year. So there is a growth of around 7% despite several challenges, and despite the fact the flow of credit is not in pace with the growth in export. we request that there should be a sub-target of around 2.5% within the total target of 40% for the priority sector lending exclusively earmarked for exporters. Sir, we also request in case of existing exporters, the requirement of collateral should not become a constraint in case exporters are able to negotiate a strong payment term with their buyers like confirmed LC, if they have confirmed export orders, and if their past transaction history is reasonable, there should be suitable amount of flexibility from the banking sector to extend suitable export credit to them. We have also observed, sir, in case of MSME exporters, they are more inclined towards conventional mode of borrowing or easy mode of borrowing, that is availing CC, overdraft or working capital term loan as compared to export credit. We observe that there may be a reason behind this, that the procedure which is required in availing export credit may be cumbersome as compared to the other form of working capital credit, that is CC, OD or working capital term loan. There is a need to ensure that the procedures which are required in availing export credit should be streamlined in a way so that more and more export credit get augmented. And on behalf of export fraternity, since we being the apex export promotion organization of the country, we can assure you that with all support from the honorable government, from the honorable finance ministry, honorable MSME ministry and the honorable prime minister, sir, we assure that the export of the nation will get scaled up and we may surpass the last year achievement of $774 billion of total exports, and we may cross $800 billion mark by the end of this fiscal year.
Fantastic. In fact, we are all as enthusiastic and hopeful, and we are very sure, in fact, about the big leaps that Indian exporters would achieve, and you would touch every milestone that you're mentioning, and much more in times to come. We have with us another woman entrepreneur, Miss Alimon Nessa. She's joined us from Assam. Miss Nessa, what do you think about what this budget has in store for women entrepreneurs? You're an entrepreneur. How do you take it? How do you look at future? आपको कैसा लगता है? What next? आपको कितना आप hopeful हैं और growth के लिए?
Thank you so much, sir. ये platform देने के लिए. First of all, as a woman entrepreneur, मैं अलीमन नसा असम से बोल रही हूँ. तो सर बेसिकली जो बजट आए हैं 2025 में वुमेन्स के लिए एक रेवोल्यूशन के जैसा एक बजट है, जिसमें हम वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर जो माइक्रो सेक्टर में है, तो हम लोगों को जो एक प्लेटफॉर्म मिलेंगे इससे, इस वजह से तो माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर जो क्रेडिट लिमिट हम लोगों को बढ़ा दिया गया है, तो 5 लाख जो देंगे. देन आफ्टर दैट सर जो सपोर्ट न्यू वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए ST/SC के लिए जो है वो भी एक बहुत अच्छे बजट है सर. तो इस बजट के थ्रू हम कितने वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स है खुद को एक प्लेटफॉर्म में खड़े होकर देखते हैं सर. तो एज एन कोलैटरल फ्री अगर आप क्रेडिट एम्पर्समेंट के बारे में हम बोलना चाहेंगे कि एज एन क्रेडिट एम्पर्स MSMEs टू इन्वेस्ट इन मॉडर्न इक्विपमेंट. जैसे सर हम लोगों को माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स अगर कुछ काम करने के लिए हम लोग को फंड चाहिए, तो उस फंड में हम लोग जैसे टेक्नोलॉजी को बढ़ावा दे सकते हैं उस फंड से, तो हम लोग माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर जितने भी हैं वो ग्रो कर सकते हैं. तो उसी वजह से सर हम लोग को बहुत सारे फायदे मिलते हैं. लेकिन सर इसमें हम और एक बात करना चाहेंगे कि ये फाइनेंस जब हम लेते हैं तो इसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम भी हम लोग फेस करते हैं एज एन माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर इन वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर. जिससे सर हम लोग जब भी ये लेते हैं तो बैंक में जाते हैं तो लाइक दैट हम लोगों को जो अवेल करते हैं, जैसे हम लोगों को कोलैटरल फी है तो इसके बारे में अवेयरनेस नहीं है, तो वो प्रॉब्लम भी हम लोगों के पास है. और जैसे हम हाई क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट्स को भी इंक्रीज करते हैं, तो सर इसमें हम ये बोलना चाहते हैं कि एज एन एमएसएमई माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर के लिए हम लोगों को सर एक ऐसा विंडो चाहिए सर, जैसे बैंक में अगर विंडो हम लोग मिलते हैं जिसमें हम लोगों को प्रॉब्लम हम फेस करते हैं वो हम बोल सकते हैं, या तो हम लोगों को वहां से मिलते हैं। बहुत सारे विंडो होते हैं सर बैंक में, लेकिन ज्यादातर फर्दर फी में सीजीटीएस की स्कीम तो बहुत अच्छी है, लेकिन सर हम लोग अवेल करने में थोड़ी बहुत दिक्कत है क्योंकि उसकी अवेयरनेस नहीं है सर। तो बेसिकली यही बोलना चाहेंगे सर कि हम वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर या तो फर्स्ट जनरेशन एंटरप्रेन्योर के लिए एक ऐसा विंडो चाहिए जिसमें हम लोगों को जो अवेयरनेस नहीं है वो हमें डायरेक्ट मिले, जिसके कि हम जैसे नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न रीजन में बिलोंग्स करके बहुत सारे एसएचजीस है, बहुत सारी स्कीम हम लोग के लिए है, लेकिन ये स्कीम को हम लोग अच्छी तरह से अवेल करने के लिए हमें वो सपोर्ट थ्रू बैंक की तरफ से अगर मिलते हैं, लाइक दैट एक विंडो होता है जहाँ पे हम जाके माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स अपना बात बोल सके कि हम कैसे काम करें, क्योंकि ज्यादातर माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर लोन ऐसे होते कि सीजीटी के अंदर लेते हैं लेकिन एनपीए हो जाते हैं, तो वो एनपीए उनको पता नहीं होता व्हाट इज द काम ऑफ एनपीए। जैसे मैं माइक्रो जो सबसे छोटे एंटरप्रेन्योर मैं उसके बारे में बोल रही हूँ क्योंकि ज्यादातर मैं एसएचजी ग्रुप्स में रिलेट करती हूँ सर, तो वो अवेयरनेस के लिए हम लोग को ऐसा विंडो चाहिए जिसमें हम लोग ये बात बोल सके, अपने बात रख पाए कि हम लोग कैसे आगे बढ़े। और सर जैसे अगर हम लोग को क्वालिटी फ्री मतलब जो लोन मिल रहे उसमें अगर हम जैसे हम लोग को कुछ फायदे हैं, जैसे हम बेटर टेक्नोलॉजी कर सकते हैं, मशीनरी ला सकते हैं, एनहांसिंग प्रोडक्टिव क्वालिटी कर सकते हैं, कैपेसिटी एक्सपेंशन कर सकते हैं और बूस्टिंग इनोवेशन भी होते हैं। लेकिन सर उसी को मार्केट अगर एनहांस भी करे तो बिजनेस को अच्छा रखना पड़ेगा। तो बिजनेस को अच्छी तरह से करने के लिए ज्यादातर मैं फेस करती हूँ सर, जो हम लोग ट्रेनिंग वगैरह लिटिल बिट अवेयरनेस करते
हम
हैं,
आपसे फिर बात करते हैं, विल कम टू यू अगेन। अभी आपसे फिर हम आपके पास दोबारा आते हैं, बट आपने बहुत अच्छे पॉइंट्स एक वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर के पर्सपेक्टिव पे, स्पेशली वो जो नॉर्थ ईस्ट में है, उनकी आपने अपने रियल लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस बताए। तो बहुत से पैनलिस्ट हैं हमारे साथ, सीईओ सीजीटी एमएससी हैं और नेशनल क्रेडिट गारंटी से भी हैं, तो अभी हम उनके पास आते हैं। बल्कि उन पैनलिस्ट के पास आने से पहले हमारे पास बहुत से लोग हैं जो इस समय ऑनलाइन हैं और जो अपना सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं। तो लेट्स आस्क सम क्वेश्चंस टू सम अदर एंटरप्रेन्योर्स आल्सो, एंड देन वी कम बैक टू द पैनलिस्ट फॉर अ वेरी क्विक राउंड so that they know what people have in mind. We have limited time, about 25 minutes, so I would request everyone to be very short and very crisp. And I would first of all invite Mr. Vinay Taneja. Mr. Vinay Taneja, the entrepreneur, he runs a company called Sri Koshi Print Pack Private Limited. He's the managing director of the company. And over to you, Mr. Vinay. What is your question? Would you like to pose some question to the panelists? Your comments, your feedback.
Thank you, Rajiv ji, for giving me the opportunity for attending this discussion. We thank the Government of India for the new initiatives during the budget. Collateral-free loan limit for MSMEs are progressively enhanced from 1 crore to 2 crores, 2 to 5, and now 5 to 10. And for the startups for up to 20 crores. But my special attention, Manish ji, Rana ji from SBI and Rahul Shukla ji, HDFC Bank, they all said this implementation of this collateral-free scheme is within 3 days or within 7 days. They are emphasizing on it, but on the implementing at the grassroots level, that is at the branch level, need tremendous improvement and changes of mindset of the officers dealing in this. MSMEs and better orientation of branch managers is required.
Yes, your point is well taken. Ultimately, it is the the last the nodal point. An entrepreneur actually interacts with, deals with the bank credit manager, the remote branch where somebody is dealing with how.
And one more thing, are banks thinking of opening some more specialized MSME branches for this?
Okay, so we'll come there and we'll take your question. Thank you. But let's take one more question from another entrepreneur. We have with us Miss Ranjana Podar Bhajanka. She's also from the Northeast, and Miss Ranjana, what is your question or comment that you would like to pose our panel?
Sir, first of all, I'm so fortunate to get this opportunity to speak on this platform. Thanks to our Prime Minister Modi, sir, to create this kind of platform where we can speak and put our question. So, how does this CGT-MSC plan to leverage this budgetary allocation to improve access to credit for women-led businesses in India, especially for Northeast? And when it comes to collateral, bank finds it very difficult to give this loan to women if they are not producing collateral, and it's difficult for women to produce a collateral. So is there any specific bank who can support us or some institution who can support us for this or guide us how to get the loan?
All right. So see, to the fellow panel, once again, an entrepreneur, the real life entrepreneur at the grassroots, trying to check which bank, would give collateral-free loan. So CGT-MSC scheme has been there for almost, good 20 years now, and with millions of enterprises benefiting from it, and yet, a question like this. So perhaps it shows some gap between awareness, what institutions are offering and what on the grassroots field. Before I move to the panel, let's take another question. We have with us Dr. K.K. Roy, and Dr. K.K. Roy is director in Gallison's Telvent Private Limited. So, Dr. K.K. Roy, your question or your comments, please.
My comment.
Dr. Roy, are you there? All right. So I think he's unable to connect. We move to Ashok Kumar Parekh, an entrepreneur. Ashok Kumar Parekh, are you there?
नमस्कार सर।
नमस्कार, आप बोलिए, सुन सकते हैं आपको।
मैं सबसे पहले माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय और वित्त मंत्री महोदय का हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने हम एमएसएमईस के लिए अच्छा प्रस्तुत किया, और आज अपने उद्बोधन में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय ने राज्य सरकारों को भी ये कहा कि आप इसको एक कंपटीशन की तरह लें और ज्यादा से ज्यादा बढ़ाएं। इसके लिए उनका बहुत बहुत साधुवाद। सर, यहाँ पैनल में उपस्थित सभी लोगों को से मेरा एक सवाल है कि वर्तमान बजट में एमएसएमई के तहत एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण क्रेडिट गारंटी योजना से संबंधित घोषणा की गई है। एमएसएमई की विकास एवं देश की आर्थिक व्यवस्था के लिए एक मील का पत्थर साबित होगा। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय आदरणीय श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने भी अपने उद्बोधन में कई बार एमएसएमई की क्रेडिट गारंटी योजना को विशेष बल दिया है, और उन्हीं के परिणाम स्वरूप ये बजट में हम देख पा रहे हैं कि क्रेडिट गारंटी स्कीम को प्रमुखता से लिया गया है, और वर्तमान में हम सभी पैनल में बैठे पैनलिस्ट अपने महत्वपूर्ण सुझाव हमें दे रहे हैं। सर, यहाँ पर मैं सम्मानित मंच में उपस्थित पैनल से एक सम्मुख एक प्रश्न रखना चाहता हूं, जो मेरे मन में कई दिवस से उठ रहा है कि एक साधारण उद्यमी, एक महिला उद्यमी, एक दिव्यांग उद्यमी और एक एसटी/एससी उद्यमी, ये जो उद्यमी हैं, इनके लिए जो क्रेडिट गारंटी स्कीम एमएसएमई में है, उसे माइक्रो लेवल पे कैसे कर सकते हैं, और जिससे कि जो ये कैटेगरीज हैं वे अपने स्वयं के उद्यम की अर्थव्यवस्था को वर्तमान अर्थव्यवस्था से दुगना कर सकें। तो आप माइक्रो लेवल पर इस तरह की कुछ व्यवस्थाएं बताएं, कुछ अपने सुझाव दें।
आपने बहुत ही अच्छा बोला, और आप जिस वर्ग को के लिए आप चिंतित हैं और सुझाव भी दे रहे हैं, और आप चाहते हैं कि माइक्रो विमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, एससी एसटी कैटेगरी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, उनके लिए ग्रास रूट पे ये स्कीम्स कैसे बेहतर इम्प्लीमेंट होगी। बजट में बहुत सी अनाउंसमेंट्स हैं। हम आपके प्रश्न का उत्तर के लिए हम पैनलिस्ट को जरूर कहेंगे, लेकिन उससे पहले हमारे साथ एक एंटरप्रेन्योर और है, इनफैक्ट रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ Karnataka Small Scale Industries Association, KASIA, which is a very vibrant association representing the small scale industries of Karnataka. Over to you, Mr. M.G. Raja. Your questions or comments, please.
Good afternoon. I thank the government for the initiatives taken by the central government for the betterment of the MSMEs in the financial sector. I would like to have some two specific questions directly. I would like to ask the panelists what are the measures initiated by the government of India to easy availment of the CGTMSE and also the reduce the charges, banking charges being charged on the CGTMSE loans, especially including interest and the guarantee premiums being charged by the banks. That is being charged very expensive by the MSMEs. That is one question. Second question I would like to ask the bankers. The bankers, what are all the measures taken by the government of India to reduce the charges they have been charged on the bank, the MS loans, like processing charges, renewal charges, and also the foreclosure charges. These are all the charges which have been going against the interest of the micro and small entrepreneurs, especially, which have been very expensive. And in spite of the instruction by the government, the foreclosure charges being insisted by the bankers, and it is going to be increasingly very difficult.
Sir, noted your points. In fact, you have raised very valid things. How banks also would make it easy, and especially removal of foreclosure charges or prepayment charges. Some of the banks have already waived off. They've taken their own internal decisions. Bank like State Bank of India, and we have with us the Deputy Managing Director there. But yes, there are banks still insisting upon foreclosure or prepayment charges from the MSMEs, and this is one area where we are still struggling. But thank you so much for raising this on behalf of the entire MSME world. And last question I'll take from Ms. Sonali Gangil. She's a woman entrepreneur. Ms. Sonali, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to all. First of all, I want to thank for inviting me and giving me opportunity to express my views and ask questions in front of you all. So, sir, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मेरे पास वर्क ऑर्डर्स हैं 11 से 15 करोड़ के आसपास, बट बैंक से गवर्नमेंट स्कीम के थ्रू मुझे कोई हेल्प नहीं मिल पा रही, क्योंकि बैंक बोलता है कि बिना कोलेट्रल के आपको हम अगर कोलेट्रल है देन वी कैन गिव यू लोन, अदरवाइज नो। एंड मैंने पीएमईजीपी से ही स्टार्ट किया था सर 9 लाख के लोन से, जो कि एसबीआई के थ्रू ही फंडिंग हुआ था सर मुझे। तो मेरा मेन क्वेश्चन ये है कि गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स जो प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं उसमें बैंक से ग्राउंड लेवल पे कोई सपोर्ट नहीं मिल रहा है।
राइट, आपका जो पॉइंट है वो बहुत ही पर्टिनेंट है। इनफैक्ट बहुत से एंटरप्रेन्योर्स आज भी फील करते हैं कि ग्रास रूट पे दिक्कतें आती, लेकिन उसके बावजूद लाखों ऐसे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं जिन्होंने इस स्कीम का फायदा उठाया। सो टू द पैनलिस्ट नाउ, इनफैक्ट you've heard these 6-7 questions that we've taken randomly from the entrepreneurs who are in this program. So I'll first come to CEO of CGTMSE, Manish Sinha ji. Most of the questions are regarding CGTMSE scheme. Entrepreneurs face issues at the branch level, at the implementation at the grassroots level. What exactly is your say on this, and what more steps can be taken in this regard so as to fill this gap?
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Now, this question is absolutely correct. I mean, we've also realized that there is a certain degree of lack of awareness in certain geographies, in certain sectors, in certain segments. And but at the same time, we cannot sort of deny the fact that the amount of guarantees, the number has tremendously gone up over the last 3-4 years. So while on the one hand, we have to acknowledge that the number of beneficiaries, the amount of guarantees being issued has gone up. But on the other hand, there is a large number of chunk where there is a requirement of increasing the awareness. Now, what we realized was this lack of awareness was not only as far as the entrepreneurs were concerned. What we realized, it's also on the banking segment, okay, at the grassroots level, like one gentleman was telling. The branch level officers at the grassroots level, suppose they're transferred, some new person comes in. So there is a gap, and that gap has to be filled. Now, what we've been doing is we're taking multiple steps in this direction. You won't believe we've organized about 96 seminars and workshops during this financial year alone. Okay, all across the country in various states. We participated in another 30 odd meetings with other shareholders. Thanks to the Ministry of MSME, now we are a mandatory member in all the SLBCs, all the states. So there the CGTMSE performance of all the bankers are being reviewed on a regular basis. We are also being invited to the RBI's Empowered Committee on MSME in all the states. So there again, the performance of banks on the CGTMSE front is being monitored and reviewed on a regular basis. So point is that these are steps that we've started taking, but then yes, definitely there's still a long way to go, and it has to be a continued effort on a regular basis.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. In fact, much is required from your side, and I hope this regular campaign connecting with entrepreneurs and bridging this gap of information, you would really continue.
In fact, as we speak, we are already running a all India campaign on radio. As far as CGTMSE is concerned.
Great, sir. In fact, now this brings me to Mr. Durgesh Pandeyji.
Yes.
In fact, the two things, one question, in fact, I would like to ask you, and two questions which I would pose you. One is that why MSMEs mainly look at debt as the only instrument, in fundraising? Collaterals or collateral free, depending upon what opportunity one has. Why equity flow is not strong in the MSME sector? Can we have a scheme like CGTMSE, a credit guarantee scheme for the private equity people, so that fast-growing SMEs also get equity support the way startups do? We have fund of funds focused on startups, and many startups and their ecosystem has really seen phenomenal growth. But why MSME sector lacks this equity support, and how this can be enhanced, and why your guarantee scheme not come out with a support program for the investing partners so that they freely and confidently invest in MSMEs as equity?
Okay. So before I come to your questions, I would like to just give a reply to Ranjana Podar and Mr. Ashok Parekh. There is the issue of collateral free actually. So under credit guarantee fund for micro units, CGFMU, banks are prohibited from taking collateral or even third party guarantee. So for all loans up to 10 lakh, they cannot take any collateral or any third party guarantee also, right? And we have already guaranteed loans up to 4 lakh crore under that scheme. So for the smaller loans, to say ki it is with collateral, no. Second thing, even for this Stand Up India scheme, which is for up to 1 crore till now, till March 31, and is going to be enhanced to 2 crore. Now there also it is very clear that collateral free and third party guarantee fee for SC, ST and women entrepreneurs. So banks are again prohibited from taking any collateral or third party guarantee under these schemes. These are for greenfield enterprises, for borrowers setting up new units. And SC, ST and women enterprises are the only one. And for each bank, there's a target that each month they have to sanction 1 or 2 loans. Maybe they'll take guarantee or not, but they have to sanction it under the Stand Up India scheme. That is to one. Now coming back to your question on why equity, why not equity, why only debt? Now see, there are some regulatory issues that I understand when the RBI can invest in equities of various borrowers, whether it is MSME or others. So even for this, fund of funds was created so that an AIF is there, and the AIF is provided with the funds, and they are able to give guarantee to this various startups. But your idea is well taken, and it could be a thought for the government to have a look on how this can be moved around, so that some equity requirement, if there is one, if there is requirement, and if it can be considered, how it can be proposed.
Thank you so much, sir. And I'll come to Mr. Surinder Ranaji, the Deputy Managing Director of State Bank of India. A huge market now, 1.5 lakh crore worth of new funds through the CGTMSE scheme getting enhanced. What is your plan? What is your strategy? What is State Bank of India's strategy? In ensuring that you cater to these large markets. Are you going to open up new branches, new banks, as some of the entrepreneurs also asked? To you, sir.
Yeah, so Rajiv, so we have a workforce of almost 2,100 specialized relationship managers for MSMEs in this country, and they are basically serving this MSME fraternity through almost 700 branches across the country. And these branches are specialized SME branches. Apart from that, we have almost 200 SME centers which take care of loans up to 50 lakhs also. And in every almost every district we have one agri and MSME processing center. So I think by infrastructure wise, by reach wise, we have absolutely no issue. And as I told you, the digital lending model, which basically works on the cash flows based on the GST returns, the account statements, the CIBIL report, and all those things. So that also is something for which the customers even do not come to the branch in the first step. He can just sitting in his office or something, just log on to it and get a go no go within maybe half an hour or 20 minutes by inputting his entire personal data, of course with his consent, of course. So as such, reach wise, and of course this digital tool that we have developed, we are doing a lot of publicity in the press, in the TV and everything. You must have seen Mr. Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Mr. Madam Smriti Mandhana, both we have engaged to basically pass on this message that digital lending in SBI we have a tool now. So as such, there is no dearth of which, and maybe yes, we are also tying up with so many industry bodies. We also arrange MSME customer meets in across the city. We also arrange exporters meet all across the country, and even our MDs and sometimes even our chairman also goes to these exporter meets. So awareness is something what has to be spread. As Madam Sonali was saying, some banks still ask for collateral. Of course, we cannot ask for collateral. In fact, if any loan is found in our system, which is below 10 lakhs and it is collateralized, we are penalized. So absolutely no question. If somebody is asking, is doing it is absolutely against the Stand Up India and all those things.
Yeah.
So rest assured, I think, and we are trying to percolate this message, and more awareness will definitely.
Time is limited. I have just one quick last question to K. Ramadevi from the women from ELIP, the women organization in Karnataka. You talked about the self-help groups. What is the kind of support you're looking at, in times to come for the self-help groups and for the larger role that they can play for women empowerment?
Various meetings happened, so it's found that SHGs are not into organized sector and they are not using the banking facilities. So we would like them to move from SHG to SME, MSME. In fact, Ujjami to Unnati. So various programs are required because that's a huge lot of women who are looking forward to from innovation to industrialization. They can move, provided because the whole ecosystem is towards promoting women entrepreneurship in our country under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister under Viksit Bharat, which means that inclusive growth. So this inclusiveness happens only if we go to the Tier 2 and village level entrepreneurs to move to the industrialization. This is what we are doing under RAP project also, supported by Ministry MSME. Ujjami to Unnati, and I seek support of bankers because instead of collateral-led finance, it has to be the project-led finance, which they have to move and support our women entrepreneurs in a way that I feel that the lacuna is like, the awareness among entrepreneurs and also the the bank system also is lacking because of various issues. They need to encourage this CGT MSME in a big way, which will support many sectors like women, SC, ST, other grassroots level entrepreneurs. This is my submission.
Thank you so much. In fact, I must really and sincerely thank every panelist and all the entrepreneurs who posed good questions, raised very important issues, the grassroots level issues, the real issues, and for the panelists for not just listening to those issues, but also trying to address some of those things. I'm sure that with these beautiful, great budget announcements that have come our way, the world of opportunity is all around us. And I see next few years as the year of exponential growth, very fast growth, accelerated growth for the entire economy, particularly the MSMEs, because MSMEs need not only be measured by their volume and their size, they need to be measured by what value an entrepreneur is creating for its stakeholders. It could be livelihood of the entrepreneur's own family, those working with the small enterprise. This is the second largest employment sector in India, next only to agriculture. And therefore, importance and significance of this sector can never be undermined. And the focus of the government remains. I am very optimistic. I'm very sure that in times to come, we can only think bigger, grow bigger, much larger, and let's all realize the dreams, not only personal dreams and individual dreams, but also the dream of India to become a developed, Viksit Bharat in near future. Thank you all the panelists. Thank you all the policymakers. Thank you, Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Finance, Honorable Prime Minister, for this amazing, amazing opportunity to us all. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, everyone. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This meeting is no longer being recorded.